The next topic for this domain is design cost-optimized network architectures. The first thing I want to cover for this topic is to remind you that with AWS, you only pay for what you use. But what is often forgotten is that that can include API call costs and data transfer costs. Take Amazon S3, for example. Using S3 incurs charges for the amount of data stored in the S3 bucket, but it also incurs costs for API calls made to S3, as well as data transfer out of the bucket. This means one good way to optimize for cost when using Amazon S3 is to reduce the amount of API calls and the data transfer that is occurring. One way you can do this is to use content delivery services like Amazon CloudFront. Depending on the amount of data being accessed and the access patterns, it can be more cost-effective to front your S3 bucket with CloudFront. That way, if someone submits a request for an object, the request will first be routed to the CloudFront distribution. If the object is found, it is then returned. If it is not found in the cache, then it is retrieved from S3. Then that object can be cached for some time, ready for the next request to come in. Coming up with an effective caching solution using CloudFront, the content delivery network, can be a great way to reduce data transfer out of S3 and therefore optimize for cost. So for the exam, I would highly recommend you take a good look at when and how to use CloudFront to optimize for cost, and check out the use cases beyond fronting an Amazon S3 bucket with the CloudFront distribution, as that is not the only use case. Beyond optimizing for data transfer costs using Amazon CloudFront, you should also be able to determine strategies for reducing data transfer costs within AWS. Broadly speaking, you should strive to reduce data transfer costs in AWS in general. For example, data transfer charges are incurred when transferring data across AWS regions. So, if you are sending data between services across regions, consider how you are connecting those services. Using something like VPC peering could be more cost-effective than using something like AWS Transit Gateway. So, knowing the network connectivity services and their pricing will be helpful. Then there's connectivity between an on-premises data center and AWS. Generally speaking, a solution using Direct Connect would be more costly than using VPN connections. So unless you really need the throughput or security AWS Direct Connect provides, you should instead look to use VPN connections as they are going to be more cost-effective. Another type of connectivity to AWS is how you connect to AWS resources to manage them. For example, if you need to log on to an Amazon EC2 instance to check out some logs or do some troubleshooting, there are many ways that you can achieve this. There is the classic method of SSH or RDP, and then there is AWS Systems Manager Session Manager, and there is also Amazon EC2 Instance Connect. You should be aware of the cost implications of each of these methods for connectivity. One final thing is to be aware of the cost implications of other networking services like NAT gateways or transit gateways. All right, that is all for this one.